Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be sharing my Booktube Spin number 5 list. The Booktube Spin is put on by Rick Macdonnell, whose channel I really enjoy and would highly recommend, so I'll put a link to him down in the description box below. But I thought I would share my list with you, but the fun part about this video is that I don't actually know what my list is going to be. In the past I have participated in the Booktube Spin, and I thought this time I would participate again. I did miss the last couple, but I figured it would be extra fun to kind of randomly select what my list is going to be, so I don't know what the picks are, and you're going to find out at the same time as I do. I do keep a TBR list on Excel, and I have made a couple adjustments. The first being that I took off the 2 books that I'm currently reading because I will likely finish them within the next couple days. I also took off my book club book, as I definitely am reading that over the next couple weeks, and it didn't feel very fun if that was going to be the pick because I knew that I was going to be reading that anyway. And then I also took out a few sequels and also some like academic nonfiction books, just because I don't think I will feel in a place to read some academic nonfiction during these next couple months, so I just kind of took those off the list, which left 83 books on my TBR, and this is both ebooks and physical books. One other thing, I have made my first pick, so I'll be picking 19 randomly, but my first pick is gonna be A Kind of Freedom by Margaret Wilkerson Sexton, because this was my Booktube Spin number 2 pick, and I actually never read it, so that's gonna be pick number 1, and that's also taken off from this list. So as I said, I have 83 picks, and I'm just gonna do a little random number generator, and we generated 80. So pick number 2 is going to be The Woman of Brewster Place by Gloria Naylor. So The Woman of Brewster Place is a pretty fun one because it's a recent acquisition of mine, and also it's a book that I picked using this like come book shopping with me, like try a chapter thing, which was a recent video of mine, so I'll put a link to that up in the cards above as well as in the description box below. But I'm excited about this one. It's also shorter, and I also was thinking that I might want to get to it in the next couple months anyway, so that would be exciting. All right, pick number 3 is going to be 77. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's actually this collection of poetry by Mary Oliver, which is called Devotions. And this one I wasn't actually thinking I would read kind of in one go, so we'll see. If this one gets picked, I might have to kind of adjust it a little bit, but I could like read a little bit of it over the course of the 2 months that you have. Then pick number 4 is going to be 65. 65 is Spirit Run, a 6,000-mile marathon through North America by Noah Alvarez. This is a nonfiction book that's kind of part memoir, part travel log, kind of about like the history of America and I believe like settler colonialism and such. And Noah Alvarez goes on a run from like north of Vancouver, somewhere in the Rocky Mountains I believe, all the way down to Mexico, and kind of talks about the history of like settler colonialism and white supremacy and how those have kind of impacted the indigenous people of the Americas. I believe Noah Alvarez is also at least partially indigenous himself, so that one sounds exciting, and it's been another one that I've been kind of looking forward to for a while. Okay, pick number 5 is gonna be 6. So pick number 5 is The Book of M by Pang Shepard. This is an ebook that I've had on my Kindle for like years and years. I think I got it in 2018. And it's kind of a dystopian novel, I think, about people start losing their memories. And I think it's about a young woman who's like trying to save her father from losing his memory. And I know Pang Shepard actually has a new book that's coming out this year, I think, like early spring or something, that I was intrigued about, but I wanted to read this one since I've had it for so long. This one was also super popular back on Booktube like a while back, so this is another one that I was interested in but probably wouldn't have picked for myself. Then pick number 6 is number 74, which is Long Division by Kiersey Lehman. This is an interesting book, which is 2 stories and they meet in the middle of the book, and you like flip the book upside down. I wish I had the book to show you, and like one story is half of the book and the other story is the other half, but it's about New Orleans, and I think one timeline takes place in the 1980s and another takes place sometime after Hurricane Katrina, and those 2 stories are like connected somehow. Pick number 7 is going to be 58, and 58 is Fuckface and Other Stories by Leah Hampton. This is a short story collection that I bought myself for my birthday last year, and I believe the stories are set in Appalachia and primarily about women, another one that I've been really excited to get to. And then pick number 8 is going to be 28. Oh, interesting. 28 is this book that I stole from my parents' bookshelves, which is called After the Storm. And this one is edited by David Dante Trout and is, I believe, like Black intellectuals talking about Hurricane Katrina. I picked this one up because I'm very interested in like disaster management, thinking about how we prepare for climactic events, and I was interested in kind of reading some more perspectives about the failures of Hurricane Katrina, and this one was just one that my parents had. I think it's from like 2006 or something, like shortly after Hurricane Katrina happened. It's also like very short. I think it's about like 150 pages or something. Pick number 9 is going to be number 5, which is another very old book that I have on my Kindle, which is Blackfish City by Sam Miller. This one is, I think, another dystopian novel. I was very into dystopian novels in like 2018, so that's why both of these very old Kindle books are dystopian novels. And I don't remember a ton about this one, except I think there's a polar bear involved, and I think it might have some like kind of queer gender identity themes as well, but I don't know who I heard that from. Pick number 10, halfway done, is gonna be 63, and 63 is the Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is a romance novel that was pretty popular here on Booktube, and I know it's about a book club of like male baseball players who all get together to try to like learn more about romance and like being kind of good husbands and boyfriends and stuff. And I don't know what like tropes are in here, but I did want to try the series out, so that'll be pick number 10. This is so fun. Pick number 11 is going to be 34, and that is The Lightest Object in the Universe, yet another dystopian novel. I guess the fates just want me to read a dystopian novel. So this one I bought in like the summer of 2019, and then I didn't get around to it all through the rest of 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and I tried to read it right at the beginning of the pandemic because this is like a pandemic book, and that was just not working for me. So I'm hoping that I would, if this gets picked, be able to read it now. But it's about, I think, a couple, and one's in like the DC area, East Coast, and the other one's on the West Coast, and a pandemic has happened. I'm not sure what kind of pandemic it is, but basically like electrical grid is down, grocery stores have been like ransacked, and I believe they're trying to kind of connect and meet up with one another. I've had this book for a really long time, as I said, like since summer of 2019, and I bought it like new as a hardcover. This would be a good one to read if it does get picked. Pick number 12 is going to be 25. This one is the newest acquisition I have, or one of the newest from my Kindle, which is called Tender by Belinda McKeon. And this one is especially fun because Rick actually is the one that I decided to pick this book up, like based on his recommendation. And this is a kind of Sally Rooney-esque coming of age story about two people who meet at university, I believe in Dublin. And I think it's kind of just about their relationship, but I believe one of them might also be kind of coming to terms with their sexuality and the kind of exploration and discussion around that. I've heard it's really good. Pick number 13 is going to be 31, which is a newer book. That's Chesapeake Requiem, A Year with Watermen of Vanishing Tangier Island by Earl Smith. This one I acquired at the beginning of December, and it's a nonfiction book about the community living on Tangier Island, which is an island in the Chesapeake Bay as part of the state of Virginia. And I actually did a project on this island for one of my classes. Well, that was kind of the inspiration for the project, but I wanted to learn more about the island. And Earl Swift is a like political journalist, and I believe spent a year, as it says in the title, living there and kind of just learning more about their culture, and also kind of getting a better sense of why they are perhaps reticent to like addressing climate change, which is a big issue because they are likely one of the first places in the continental United States that will be underwater because of climate change. So that sounded really interesting. It is a chunker though, so I'll have to see if there's like an audiobook available, but that'll be pick number 13. Number 14 is going to be 42, and that is The Flicker of Old Dreams by Susan Henderson. This is a book that is about a young woman living in Montana, I think, and she returns, maybe it's a man, I don't remember. But someone returns home after like many years away from their small town, and there's some sort of granary incident that happened 10 years ago, and I think some sort of mystery is being uncovered in the present day timeline is my vague recollection of what this book is about. So it is one that I've been interested in reading, especially because I think I've had it since February of 2020. Pick number 15 is going to be number 1. What is number 1? Oh, number 1's Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is one that I was going to be reading at some point during these next couple months anyway, but I decided to keep it on this list. This is a romance novel that's coming out on the 1st of March, and I believe it's like a friends to lovers, we've known each other for a long time and now we're getting together romance that's set in a small town and about a guy who I think is having, he's kind of like a Lothario, like ladies man type, but he has kind of some emotional baggage tied up with all of that, and I think they're working through that together. Then pick number 16 is going to be number 35, and 35 is Rules of Civility by Amor Tolls. This is one that I have been meaning to get to for years and years, especially after I read A Gentleman in Moscow last August. I like renewed my interest in picking this one up, and yeah, so it's a historical fiction novel set in, I think I just looked this up, it's like 1937 or something, and it's about a young woman and kind of her coming of age story, and I think she's 25, which I'll be turning 25 at the beginning of February, so that could be a fun, like, timely adventure. Then number 17 is gonna be 71, and 71 is While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. This is Stacey Abrams' debut thriller, and it's a political thriller about a woman who works as a clerk for one of the Supreme Court justices, but he enters into a coma, and so she becomes basically his stand-in person, and I believe she uncovers some like big corruption that's happening, perhaps international, and I think maybe healthcare related. Sounded intriguing. And number 18 is going to be 69, very close. Oh, 69 is The Ballad of the Sad Cafe and Other Stories by Carson McCullers. This is a novella and stories by Carson McCullers, who's one of my favorite like classic novelists. I feel like he's not very well known in terms of a classic writer, classic Southern writer, but I really like her. I've read several of her works, and yeah, her kind of themes of like loneliness, coming to terms with like your place in the world, living outside of like the societal norms, particularly as it relates to like earlier ideas of like gender identity and queerness, are all things that she kind of explores in her work. So if any of those interest you and you've not read Carson McCullers, I would highly recommend checking her out. Number 19 is going to be 41. I feel like we already had 41. Nope, we didn't. Okay, 41's Beautiful Revolutionary by Laura Elizabeth Willett. This one is one that I heard Jacqueline, I don't remember if Jacqueline still makes videos, but Jacqueline at 6 Minutes For Me, who is Australian, talked about this one, and I believe it was an Australian release that I found at some used bookstore that is about, I think, the Jim Jones cult, and I believe this book primarily follows like one of his lovers or something, and so it's like from her perspective of that whole cult experience, which sounded really interesting. But this is another one that's been sitting on my shelves for like a really long time, so another good one to kind of get to. And then last but not least, number 20 is going to be 45, which is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. This is the latest Wolitzer that I have on my shelves that I want to read, and this one is the one that got turned into a movie with Glenn Close about an older couple who are flying to somewhere in Scandinavia. They're going to like a Nobel Prize equivalent in their world, as the husband is going to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. But on the plane ride, and I believe the whole book takes place just over the course of this plane ride, but there's a lot of like flashbacks as well. The wife decides that she's going to leave her husband, in large part because his kind of renowned success is in part based on her own writing and work, and he's kind of stolen her work. I believe they met when he was her professor, and they've just kind of continued to have like a terrible relationship, but she's been with him for so long. And I think it's about kind of women's agency and women's voices in literature and that type of thing, which sounds really interesting. So this is another one that I've been kind of eager to get to sooner rather than later. So those are going to be all 20 of my picks. I'm going to quickly kind of go over them again now. So number 1 is going to be This Kind of Freedom by Margaret Wilkerson Sexton. Number 2 is The Woman of Brewster Place by Gloria Naylor. Number 3 is Devotions by Mary Oliver. Number 4 is Spirit Run by Noah Alvarez. Number 5 is The Book of M by Pang Shepard. Number 6 is Long Division by Kizzy Lehman. Number 7 is Fuckface and Other Stories by Leah Hampton. Number 8 is After the Storm, edited by David Dante Trout. Number 9 is Blackfish City by Sam Miller. Number 10 is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. Number 11 is Lightest Object in the Universe by Kimmy Isel. Number 12 is Tender by Belinda McKeon. Number 13 is Chesapeake Requiem by Earl Swift. Number 14 is Flicker of Old Dreams by Susan Henderson. Number 15 is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. Number 16 is Rules of Civility by Amor Tolls. Number 17 is While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. Number 18 is The Ballad of the Sad Cafe and Other Stories by Carson McCullers. Number 19 is Beautiful Revolutionary by Laura Elizabeth Willett. And number 20 is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. So that is my Booktube Spin number 5 list. Do let me know if any of these books are books that you would be particularly excited for me to read. Additionally, if you are doing the Booktube Spin, please let me know your list or put a link to your video down in the description box below. I just think this whole thing is so fun and I love to kind of see other people's lists and how they put them together. So I think that's about everything. If you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you stick around and subscribe. I hope you're having a great rest of your day whenever you watch this, and I will talk to you next time.